Hello everybody, it's Pixie again. Welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, welcome. My name is Pixie. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you happen to be watching this. I hope you're having a fabulous time, whatever you're doing. And I guess we'll just get started. Awkward video time. Tonight on my face, I am wearing makeup on my face. I went back to my Manic Panic Virgin Snow, my white pressed powder. After doing my foundation, of course, I wanted to look super pale for some reason. I love this stuff. It's white. I am backwards tonight. There we go. It's almost gone. I have a backup somewhere. I hope they don't discontinue this. I love this stuff. I mixed it with a BB cream, so it's not white, but right now I look kind of blinded by... Anyway, I'm also wearing the Wet n Wild highlighter called, where is it? Winter Falls in LA. This is one of the Game of Thrones inspired highlighters, even though it denied it. Shimmery, shimmery. I love Wet n Wild's pressed highlighters. They are great. Just shimmery. You know, you don't even need like a heavy hand. They show it pretty darn well. Anyway. And I love this eyeshadow. I don't reach for this enough. This is a Nicole Miller Glitz eyeshadow palette. You can't even see it, but whatever. So I'm using Sparkle. I mean, just look at that. It's just gorgeous. Sparkles right here in the middle, and then I'm using that light blue in my corner, and then this gold color star for my crease called Glam. And I cannot remember how much this was, but I've had it for a while, and I love Nicole Miller. If you haven't watched my previous videos, go back and check those out. And yes, the hurricane is coming down on us on Sunday. I'm recording this at 2:18 in the morning on Thursday Eastern Standard Time, and we are supposed to have landfall of Dorian by Sunday afternoon, I believe, if it doesn't change course. And there are some Florida myths out there that need to be corrected, I suppose. I asked my friend from Michigan, what did you expect when you came to Florida? And he's like, what do you mean? And I was like, well, you know, people assume things about Florida before they get here. And the first thing he said was palm trees and beaches. That's what I expected. And he was surprised that we have other plants. We are actually in a zone that we can grow other things, but I guess that cliche is just there. You think palm trees are going to be everywhere. I have a pine tree and an oak tree in my front yard, and some palms, but it's not just palm trees. And hurricanes are not just a huge party for us. We do take them seriously, and some people actually go overboard with it. You do not need 7 cases of water. Yes, we do lose power. That's why I'm recording now, because I have 3 days, and you know what? I might even vlog if I have enough battery and we do lose power. I might record the hurricane and just show you like what it's like. We're in Central Florida, so we're not on the coast, we're not in the south, we're not in the panhandle. So when the hurricane hits our area, it kind of breaks up, especially since we are the highest elevation. We are the only area in Florida that has the natural hills and valleys, and we do have the natural highest point, maybe less than 10 miles from where I live. So by the time it hits landfall for us, I would say we're about maybe an hour from Daytona, given traffic. So once it hits Daytona, the hurricanes kind of slow down, and it's like, oh, land, oh my god, what do I do? And it just kind of like breaks up. And usually we just get bans if we're lucky. And yes, 2 years ago, I believe it was Irma, we did have 6 days without power, and it was terrible, but it's not unbearable. Did not mean to rhyme, but it was kind of crappy to just see, like, sitting on our porch with no AC and no lights and watching the energy truck drive by, and we're like, hello. But yeah, it does happen. We do take them seriously, but like I said, some people go overboard. You do not need 7 cases of water to live unless you are a boil alert in your area. Yes, we could have state of emergencies, and yes, there are devastations, and there are areas that need help, but in our area, people just kind of like freak out, and we don't really need a generator, but it's nice to have one. It's kind of like a luxury. As a pure Floridian, we are kind of used to it. So it's just the heat, really. When you're without power, that's the worst thing, but it's kind of the same, like, I call it Florida snow. And speaking of snow, that is another Florida myth. We do get snow. It's very rare, and it's mostly in northern Florida, but sometimes we have those freak cold, dry winters, and we actually do have snow. Yes, it's melted by the middle of the day, but do not fool yourself into moving here and thinking you're going to be snow-free. It does get cold here. It might just be a cold snap. It might last 24 hours, 72 hours, but it does get cold here. I have a whole collection of coats to prove it. And I can't handle the cold, but our Florida cold is probably a very different cold from other areas. If you've never been to Florida, we don't have it. Sometimes it's a humid cold, and sometimes it's a very dry cold, and it's terrible, but it will only last for a couple days. It might be like, we might have 80 days one day, and then at night it's 59 degrees, and for me, I freeze below 60 personally because I am Floridian. And yeah, so a lot of places like Tallahassee, Jacksonville, anything in the Panhandle, they can see snow too, but we're so close to the border of the other states like Georgia, Alabama, they get snow. We'll get a cold frost, and it's humid again by the end of the day. So, like, you can't really count it as a snow. I'm sure a lot of people are like, well, that's not real snow, but hey, we still get it. It still counts. Yeah, Florida has snow. Very rarely, but we do. And my last Florida myth, even though I am a huge Disney fan, these are my new ears that I got for my birthday. I got the candy ears. If you watched my Walk Around With Me Disney, you saw these in the store, I'm sure. I bought them. I love them. Anyways, I just wanted to say that not everybody works or lives for the parks. Universal, Disney, Legoland, Busch Gardens, we don't all love the parks. We don't all live there. We don't all work there. Yes, tourism, I have words, I promise. Tourism is very popular down in Florida, and a lot of it is a melting pot. A lot of people come here to work here, but not everybody loves the mouse. I just want to clarify that. Not everybody loves Universal. I, for one, I love Disney, but I don't like Universal. Just because it's there in Orlando does not mean that we all gravitate towards it like it's some idol, because the amusement parks are fun, but for a lot of Floridians, it does get old because that's everywhere. It's literally here and there and everywhere. Oh, the places we will go. Thank you, Dr. Seuss. Because it does get old sometimes. I will forever love the mouse. I grew up there. My dad and mom met there. But some people, they're just not into it. So it's just a cliche that you either work for the mouse or you work at Universal or you work in a restaurant. Yes, we do rely on a lot of tourism for our economy, but that doesn't mean everybody does when they live here. So, yay. Another thing I want to address is, yes, gators are everywhere, but they are more afraid of you than you are of them. They do not like noises, they do not like boats, they do not like people. Unless you feed them, they will come back. It's actually against the law in the state of Florida to feed or entice gators, and there are signs posted everywhere. Beware of gators, do not feed, please, blah, 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 blah. Wildlife is a huge thing in Florida, so while you think or have heard rumors that gators are everywhere and they'll just swim in your backyard swimming pool, it's not true. The only time you really run into wildlife if you're in like an urban area is if they built your house where there were dens of black bears, coyotes, gators, so on and so forth. Anything that has a natural habitat. If you mow down their home, they're going to be in your trash. They will be in your swimming pool. I think there are more instances with black bears being in somebody's swimming pool and going through their trash than there are gators. Because I go down to the lakes all the time, and because it's so noisy at a restaurant that's on the lake, that the gators just have no interest whatsoever, because one, they're not getting fed, like I said before, and two, they just don't like the noise, and they don't like the boats pulling up, they don't like the motors, they want to protect their nests. They're usually out there in the weeds away from the public areas. So you may see a gator if you go canoeing or if you go to a state park, but that's in their natural habitat. If you go to a restaurant that's on the lake, you're probably not going to see a gator, and if you do, it's going to be about 50 feet out that way. So there's no reason to be afraid of the lakes if you come to visit Florida, or if you're already in Florida and you're afraid of the lakes for some reason. It took me a while to get over my fear as well. Like, oh, what was that? Something touched my foot. It rarely happens to see a gator in that open area. Unless you purposely go and seek out their nests, they are going to be purposely hidden because they're trying to protect their babies and their family, just like we protect our homes. We want to lock the door. We want to, you know, make sure our loved ones are safe. That's basically what the gators are doing. Just leave them alone. If you do see one, take a picture and move on. Just make sure you have a good zoom, because don't mess with any baby gators, because mom is close by and so is daddy. But yeah, that's another kind of Florida myth if you've never been here. If you do get a chance to visit here and you've never been to the South before, it's very humid, but there's so much stuff to do down here. I love living in Florida. I will never leave. Born and raised. Here I am. I love living here. So if you have any questions, please comment down below. If you have any other Florida myths you would like me to debunk, I guess, or anything, where do you live? Are there any like random, you know, cliches about your state or your hometown or your area? Just let me know. It's a very interesting topic because I have a lot of people asking me like, oh, you live in Florida, does this happen or is this true? And I'm more than happy to like clear those up or say, yes, that is true, because sometimes Florida scares me. But I will never leave. This is my home. I love it. If you have not yet, please I have words again. Please feel free to subscribe. Hit that little bell down below so you know when I do update. If you are doing whatever makes you happy, as long as it's not hurting anybody, that's the whole point of this channel. Make sure you're doing it. Wear a tiara. Wear some wings. Go buy those mini ears. I love them. Lollipop, lollipop. Anyway, Pixie out. Love you guys. Talk to you later.